The answer of is your financial plan on track or not is, are you going to be able to accomplish what's important to you? The way that I tend to think about how we measure whether or not we think a plan is still on track, even in volatile periods, is to expand or widen the aperture. Okay, we tend to have a more narrow focus in things, particularly when there's emotional events happening. And so the first thing I think it's important to do is let's step back and let's look at the big picture. Let's expand the horizon and see if we look at normal circumstances, does it appear that you're still on track? And there's a concept that I like to explain to my clients. It's the idea of reversion to the mean. And the way that I think about it is in any area that you have a large relevant sample size, it's fair to assume that there's a lot of different things baked into the numbers derived from that sample size. And the good thing about finance is that we have daily records, so large amounts of sample over a long period of time. We can go back to the early 1900s. And so baked into that large sample size, that's where we come to that historical average of the US stock market of 8 or 9%, whatever that return is. The way that I think about that when we see things happening in the near term is if I know that an average return has been somewhere around 8 or 9%, then if we see a 20 or 25% return in the market, I'm setting my frame in my mind to think there's a higher probability that future returns are going to be whatever needs to happen to pull that average back to the mean, revert back to the mean. But the inverse is also true. If we see a year when the market is negative 20%, I'm doing the same thing. Let's expand the horizon. Let's widen the aperture. Well, if we see a return that's way beneath the long-term average, then there's a pretty good probability that future returns are going to be whatever is required to get back to the average. So the idea is that our financial plan, it reflects averages, but in order for averages to become average, we need to lengthen the time horizon. So part of it is just let's look to where we're headed without respect to what somebody else is doing, what the politicians are doing, what the economy is doing. Those things are less important to me than are we on track using conservative assumptions, baking in these ideas around averages, widening the lens to see if you're on track to get where you want to go. And if that's the case, then we try to just sort of settle down, be content, and trust the process that this good planning with lots of redundancy, with prudent management, and good behavioral actions on our part and the clients are going to lead us to where they want to go.